What if everything you've ever wanted, every dream, every desire, every silent hope was already making its way to you, and the only thing standing in the way was your ability to trust? The universe asked for just one thing in exchange for its infinite gifts: trust. That's it. Not effort, not struggle, not control, just trust. And yet this single elegant requirement is the very place where most people falter. Why? Because trust isn't easy. It asks us to release control, to drop the armor of fear, and to stop gripping so tightly to what feels familiar. Without realizing it, we build invisible walls, walls made of doubt, hesitation, and the need for certainty. These walls don't come from the universe. They are our own construction. And the cruel irony, the very walls we think are keeping us safe are the ones keeping our deepest desires at arm's length. Trusting the unseen forces of creation is not weakness, it's bravery of the highest kind. It means stepping off the edge of the known and into the unknown, a place where logic loses its grip, where predictability dissolves, and where the heart takes the lead. Most people avoid this step. They cling to what's familiar, even if it means living a life half-lived, a life that feels small, limited, and disconnected from their true potential. But those who dare to trust even a little are often met with something extraordinary, not because of luck or chance, but because the universe responds to trust like a magnet. It listens, it echoes back the energy you put into it. This is not poetic wishful thinking. It's a living, breathing law of creation, just waiting for you to awaken it. So how does it work, and what does it require from you? Let's begin at the heart of it all: presence. True trust can only exist in the present moment. Without presence, trust is just a word, empty, fragile, and easily broken. The real power of creation lives here now. But most people, they live somewhere else. They replay old stories, memories of failure, rejection, regret, or they leap ahead into a future built on what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. This mental time travel is not harmless. It steals your power. It disconnects you from the only moment where real transformation is possible, the now. But presence is more than just showing up. It's not about sitting quietly or trying to clear your mind. It's about full embodied awareness where your mind, body, and emotions and all arrive in the same place at the same time. It's where your energy becomes undivided, your focus sharpens, and your intuition comes alive. In this state, trust can finally take root, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. When you live in presence, you begin to silence the inner noise. You begin to transcend the old broken loops of thinking. You make space, beautiful open space, for something new to rise. But let's be honest, staying present is not easy. The world pulls you in 1,000 directions. Old habits whisper, distractions scream. The past tries to drag you back, and the future tries to pull you forward. Yet every single time you return to the present moment, every time you take a conscious breath and ground yourself, you reclaim your power. A little more, and a little more. Over time, presence becomes your superpower, a skill, a practice, a doorway to the creative energy that can reshape your life from the inside out. But if presence is the soil where trust grows, then doubt is the weed that tries to choke it. Doubt is sneaky. It doesn't always scream, it often whispers. It shows up as second guessing, as fear, as hesitation, as the voice that quietly asks, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail again? That voice feels like reason, but it's actually resistance. It's not the truth. It's your old survival programming trying to keep you small, contained, and safe. But safe is not the same as fulfilled. And staying in the familiars will never get you to the extraordinary. The universe doesn't respond to fear, it responds to faith. To trust is to choose possibility over predictability. It means stepping into uncertainty not because you have all the answers, but because you believe something greater is guiding you. Here's the shift. Every time you choose trust instead of doubt, you're rewiring your nervous system. You're teaching your body and mind to follow your vision instead of your fear. And every act of faith, no matter how small, builds a new pathway. Over time, those fearful thoughts lose their grip. You stop giving energy to the what-ifs and start fueling your dreams instead. Because trust isn't just a feeling, it's a skill, a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger with use. Now let's talk about your emotional state. It's the mirror of your trust. When you operate from guilt, fear, or anger, You send a powerful signal to the universe. I don't believe it will work out. These emotions, while deeply human, bind you to the past. They lower your vibration. They cloud your vision. And they prevent you from stepping into a brighter, more aligned future. Mastering trust means learning to master your emotional landscape. That doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means transforming it, elevating it. Begin by asking yourself, does this emotion match the future I want to create? If the answer is no, that's your cue to shift. Let go of guilt. Let go of resentment. Let go of fear. Instead, begin to embody emotions like love, gratitude, joy. These aren't just feel-good sentiments. They're energetic signals that say, I trust, I believe, I am ready. One of the most powerful acts of trust is feeling grateful for something before it arrives. When you do this, you collapse the timeline between wanting and receiving. You enter into vibrational alignment with your vision, and the universe takes notice. It's not magic, it's alignment. So here's the invitation. Can you lean into the unknown just a little more? Can you loosen your grip and let life surprise you? Can you breathe deeper, trust bigger, and show up more fully in this moment? Because everything you've been asking for is already asking for you. So what happens when you stop gripping so tightly and start living from that deep sacred trust we spoke of before? This is where everything begins to shift, not only outside of you, but within you. It's a game changer. When you trust that deeply, it's as if you're looking up at the sky and whispering to the universe, I believe in you so fully. I'm already celebrating. You're no longer waiting for evidence to prove it's working. You're embodying the outcome before it even arrives. This emotional alignment isn't just some optimistic illusion. It's not positive thinking in disguise. It's a potent, energetic signal, one that vibrates through every layer of your being. And when your heart and your mind are in harmony, when your inner frequency aligns with joy, trust, and belief, the universe listens. No more than that, it responds. But here's the hard truth. One of the greatest challenges in trusting the universe is surrendering control. We live in a world that worships control. Society teaches you from an early age to micromanage every detail of your life, to plan relentlessly, to push, to hustle, to leave nothing to chance. You're taught that if you don't orchestrate every move, you might fail. But what if that belief is what's holding you back the most? The more you try to control, the more resistance you create. Because control doesn't come from power, it comes from fear. The fear that things might fall apart unless you intervene. That if you loosen your grip, everything will unravel. But here's a liberating truth. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean laziness or apathy. Letting go means releasing the obsessive need to dictate the outcome. It means no longer choking the life out of your dreams with your need to know exactly how, when, and where they'll unfold. True trust requires surrender. And surrender is not weakness. In fact, it is the ultimate act of strength. Picture this. Imagine holding onto a rope so tightly that your palms begin to bleed. The longer you clutch it, the more pain you feel. Letting go in this case doesn't make you powerless, it makes you free. You breathe again, you heal, you make space for something greater to take over. When you trust, when you surrender, the universe can move on your behalf, often in ways you could never have predicted, mapped out, or forced. And that is the very nature of divine timing. Things begin to flow. Not because you forced them, but because you got out of the way. Surrender is not passivity, it is active faith. It's a bold declaration that says, I believe something bigger than me is at work here. I don't have to do this all alone. And something magical begins to happen when you live like this. The universe starts to speak to you, not in loud shouts, but in whispers, in signs, in synchronicities, in those quiet, perfect moments where something clicks, an unexpected conversation, a sudden realization, a strange coincidence that feels a little too perfect to ignore. These are not accidents. They are the breadcrumbs the universe leaves for you, guiding you gently, lovingly toward the life you're here to live. Every sign is a message. Every synchronicity is a mirror. Every intuitive nudge is a sacred echo that says, yes, you're on the right path. And when you notice these signs, truly notice them, they energize you. They fill you with awe, with gratitude, with joy. Instead of dragging yourself through daily routines, you start to look forward to your practices. You begin to crave that feeling of alignment. Trust stops being a discipline and becomes a delight. With every moment of confirmation, your belief deepens, your commitment strengthens. The feedback loop of trust and manifestation accelerates. When you start seeing these synchronicities, don't brush them off. Don't chalk them up to coincidence. Acknowledge them. Celebrate them. Let them feed your spirit. Let them be the proof that your inner alignment is working. The more you pay attention, the louder those whispers become. The signs multiply, the path gets clearer, and you begin to understand something profound. True trust isn't something you do, it's something you become. It transforms you. You no longer have to remind yourself to believe you embody belief. This internal shift touches everything. Your thoughts soften, your emotions stabilize. Your choices begin to reflect a new version of you, a version that no longer chases or begs or worries. You don't grasp for life. You attract it. Living in trust means your sense of worth and direction no longer depends on external validation. You stop needing the outside world to prove that you're okay. Instead, your inner state becomes your compass. And from that center, everything begins to flow outward. This is where real freedom lives. Not in controlling outcomes, but in knowing you are always supported. And when trust becomes your natural state, the universe reveals itself to you in ways you could never have dreamed of. Not just through what you get, but through who you become. Because here's the truth, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And trust is the bridge between where you are now and the life you've always dreamed of. Each day you're invited to make a choice to trust or to resist. The universe isn't demanding perfection. It doesn't need you to perform. It doesn't even ask for blind optimism. It simply asks for your trust. Because the moment you give it fully sincerely, you begin to see that life is not something you must fight against. It's something you co-create one thought, one feeling, one choice at a time. So take the leap, choose trust, and watch as the universe begins to move mountains on your behalf.